You can't hear me? Okay. All right. I'm not sure how I really follow what just happened. So I'll try not to think about it too much. I'll also apologize as well. You are definitely not in a simulation. I do have a little bit of a cold, which might be coming across, but I'll try and battle through that. How's everybody finding the conference so far? I know you're at that point where it's either just before lunch, post lunch. Is everybody learning? Finding it interesting? Yeah, headphones, that's cool, thank you. Okay, awesome. Well, I guess if anybody saw me talk this morning, this is a bit of a continuation of the themes that we were picking up on then. So my name's Adam, I'm the founder and CEO of a software development company called Calls9, and we build and design Web3 digital products and services. And I guess for me, I'm going to try and hopefully leave you with the clear view of why blockchain is crucial to this whole world. You might have just felt like you're in the metaverse, and to a point, I guess there's a discussion about what is it, where did it begin, and is it new? And I feel like just getting some definitions squared away is really important for me to add as much value as possible during this talk. So I know this is controversial because I've gone to Meta for these definitions. Is anybody from Meta here, by the way? I'm sure somewhere in here there will be. But so these are ripped off your website. But essentially, what is the metaverse, right? I think in its purest form, people are talking about this evolution in social connection, this discussion of is it the successor of the mobile internet? I'm not entirely sure about that, but we definitely feel like it's supposed to be a new way of connecting and interacting with each other. There's also this piece around seamlessly moving between different environments, right? Whether that's 2D, 3D, or a combination of the two. Ultimately, we're trying to get closer to people. This is the promise that the metaverse is really trying to deliver for us, and that sense of being closer together in person. And there's also a clear feeling that it's cross-platform. I think you've just experienced probably the most cross-platform nature of it, which is a physical, digital a combination of things. But I'm not sure, again, if this is clear enough for us. So I just want to sort of take a little trip down memory lane to try and actually explore where we've come from on this journey. And I'm going to hopefully get you guys to help me with a little bit of audience participation here. So I'm going to take you through some things that may or may not be considered past metaverse experiences, and I want to talk about why they did or didn't work in the context of what we think about the modern metaverse today. So this is really straightforward. You need to name the product, and you need to name the year, okay? So if anybody can do this, please just shout out the answers as you go, because I can't see all your hands, all right? So here's the first one. Hope no one's easily offended either, but here's the first one. What's this product? Doom. Yeah, very good. What year was it released? 1990 something. Okay, you're in the ballpark of it. Anybody else? 96, early. Okay. Final answer? Early 90s. Someone's going for. Okay. So 93. And if anyone was around at the time playing this, what was kind of intriguing was that you probably discovered this through a community that was online, through bulletin boards, through FTP servers. You downloaded it, and then you were able to play with random people, initially on local area networks, and eventually over wide area networks, the internet, okay? We'd call that a social experience, and it's definitely akin to the type of metaverses that we see popping up today. Okay, next one, product and year. Bit harder, this one. Testing the diehards in the room. Anybody? Mario Kart. Did you say? Yeah, it's Mario Kart. Very similar. Okay, so this is called Ultima Online, and it was in '97. And it was an MMORPG, and you could have a whole social ecosystem, guilds, identities, avatars, and it also had a really interesting trading mechanism as well that was built into it. Does it sound and feel like the metaverse? Maybe. Okay. And one more. What's the product and year on this one? It is Second Life, whoever said that. And Second Life came out, and this is actually the Sky Newsroom. Okay. So Second Life actually came out in 2003, but by 2007, brands were being onboarded into it to build what we definitely would call today look and feel like metaverse experiences, right? I mean, I remember watching Sky News be broadcast by, I think it was Eamon Holmes' Inside Second Life, which was as terrifying as it sounds, by the way. Okay, so that's 2003 through 2007, social trading simulation. But again, we still don't think of that as the metaverse. So, what's different? Why didn't they work, right? Why didn't they have greater impact? I think a big part of the reason is because we didn't have Web3. So, we didn't have trust. We didn't know who these people were in these different metaverse experiences. There absolutely wasn't a real economy. Second Life did have something called Linden Dollars, I think, but it couldn't come out of that world. It was completely non-transferable. Nothing you did inside those ecosystems had impact anywhere else. They definitely weren't stable. It's not that you couldn't trust them as such, but you couldn't guarantee that they would always be there. And you were platform locked in, right? One experience in one metaverse didn't transfer to another experience in another metaverse. I don't think that's the view that everybody here is talking about, and I don't think it's the real promise that the metaverse can deliver. So, back to the present day. Why do I think blockchain is so key to the future of the metaverse? I think it's for these 4 reasons. Identity, proving who you are inside the metaverse, as real as it is in person here today, and having that transfer through different experiences. Having real digital assets that are first class, that actually mean something, have utility, have value, and again, can move through different ecosystems. Governance, rules that you can trust, and interoperability. So, identity. These other metaverses didn't work because we had absolutely no idea who these people were. You truly couldn't trust anybody. They were completely fake. And I think that in the metaverse that we're trying to build today, where, you know, to take Meta's example, where you can work, you can connect, you can play in truly unique ways, you need trust. You need to be able to trust that the person standing in front of you is the person they say they are. So I think some of the speakers were talking about self-sovereign identity, right? Blockchain used to actually tokenize people's identity and prove who they are. Absolutely key for building the metaverse of tomorrow. Digital assets build a real economy. Obviously, it's difficult to talk at these events and not make reference to things like FTX and everything that's happened recently, biggest frauds we've ever seen. The digital economy is real, and it does have value. And there are lots and lots of examples of that, and it will get beyond the current situation. And actually, perhaps one of my next slides addresses the FTX situation more head-on, which is governance and stability. When we invest time and energy and money into things, we want to know that they're going to be there for us. We want to understand the experiences that we're going to have and have consistency to them. Smart contracts enable us to do that. DAOs enable us to do that. This is the world that you want to be part of. The rules of the game are known to everybody and they're consistent. That's what governance gives you. And it's what the experiences of previous metaverses didn't really have. They did feel like these sort of Wild West experiments, really, and they were great fun, but they weren't something that you could build a stable economy on top of. And interoperability, which is such a long word, it almost didn't fit on that slide, and I think we need a better word, but clearly interoperability is about choice. And when things live on the blockchain, when they live in a Web3 world, you have choice. You have choice over where you take your identity. You have choice over where you take your digital assets. You have choice over who you interact with and how. Interoperability is key. The metaverse at the moment is almost a bit like a separate email client where you can only talk to people within that metaverse. And you can only share information with people in that metaverse. If I told you email worked like that, we would never be messaging each other. So interoperability is key. And I know that some of the team from Upland.me were talking about this earlier in terms of the Open Metaverse initiative or foundation that they are curating, and I think it's a great initiative, and I certainly recommend everybody find out more about it. I think the key to building amazing experiences that transfer across all these different use cases from home to work and play is interoperability. So why do I think it's the foundation? Why do I think blockchain is the foundation? I think that without these things, you can build exciting and dynamic experiences. They are fun, okay? Absolutely. And they can have entertainment value. But whether they have lasting value, whether they have social impact value, whether they have the ability to actually fundamentally change how you think about yourself and how you work, I think is really open to question. I want you to be able to get a job in the metaverse, and I want it to feel as real as the job that you've got here. I want you to have economic certainty over how you'll get paid and how that value is translated between different metaverse jobs you might have. I want you to feel confident about the people you're speaking to, knowing that they are the people that they say they are. And through governance, I want you to know what the rules of the game are. You might not agree with them, but that's fine. You can leave that metaverse and you can go find another one where you do agree with them. And that's smart contracts. And then interoperability, I think, is, as I say, one of the biggest challenges that the industry faces. How do we build a world where all of these things lock together in the way that we would expect them to, in the way that the real economy does, in the way that real society does? I don't think there's a full answer to this yet, but ultimately the work that's happening through the Open Metaverse Initiative, which is obviously driven by people like Upland and lots of others, look at what they're doing. It's Web3-driven solutions. It's blockchain-driven solutions that drive self-sovereign identity, true ownership of digital assets, smart contracts and DAOs, and ultimately flexibility to port all of those different experiences across different metaverses depending on what you're trying to do. I'm about to lose my voice, but I think we're just about getting to the end of this. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that one of the big things for me is, as a practitioner, Calls 9, we build digital products and services. So we're not living in the sci-fi, we're living in the today, and we're actually helping businesses and brands on-ramp into this world to find meaningful ways to bring this technology to their consumers. I think if you start answering these types of questions and addressing these points, when you think about the metaverses that you want to build for yourselves or for your consumers, I genuinely think you'll be met with open arms. You'll have a much more interesting experience with those consumers, a much more valid, authentic, and trustworthy experience with them. And you'll definitely put people's minds at ease. Because if you did all of these things, then you wouldn't necessarily be able to have the same situation that we had with FTX, which hopefully is a positive future to look forward to for everybody. You can reach me in the usual places, and I'm not sure if I've got time for questions, but if I do, I'd be happy to answer any about this hypothesis, I guess. But thank you for listening.